Welcome back, friends. Today, I want to tell you the long and inspiring story of Adidas, how one idea about shoes grew into a name known by millions around the world, and what we can learn from that journey. It started with two brothers who loved to make shoes. Their names were Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. They were from a small town in Germany, and they worked hard with their hands. In the early days, they used a small room and simple tools. They made shoes that fit the feet well and helped people run, jump, and play. People began to notice that the shoes felt good and were strong. The brothers had a dream. They wanted to make the best shoes for sport. They wanted athletes to be more free and to feel fast and sure when they ran and moved. That simple dream was the seed that would grow into something very big. At first, the two brothers worked together, and they learned a lot from each other. They tried new ideas and fixed problems as they came. They used leather and cloth and put extra care into how the sole and the upper part of the shoe joined. Their small shop grew slowly because word of good work passed from foot to foot. Athletes who tried their shoes liked them. In the 1930s and 1940s, sport was changing, and many people wanted better shoes for races, for football, and for other games. The brothers made spikes for runners and boots for football players. One memorable moment came when an athlete wore shoes made by the brothers in a very big race. The world watched, and the shoes helped the athlete run well. That moment showed how a small maker with care and skill could stand on the same stage as the large companies. But life does not always run on straight tracks. The brothers had arguments, and the war brought hard times for everyone. After the war, they could not work together like before. The two men chose different roads. Rudolf set up his own company, and Adolf set up his own. They each wanted to follow his own plan and to build his own name. Adolf was called Adi by his friends. He found a way to make his name small and strong. He put his first name and last name together and called the company Adidas. It was a name that was easy to say and easy to remember. The new company began in a small place but with a clear aim: make tools for athletes that help them do their best. Adi and his team kept making new ideas for shoes. They cared about small things that make a big difference, like how the sole grips wet grass or how the shoe bends when the foot moves. One of the most famous stories in the history of sport shows how a good idea in a shoe can change a game. In 1954, a national football team used boots with a new kind of sole that could change the length of the studs. The rain that day made the field slippery. The team that used the new boots could change the studs and get good grip. They played with more confidence and won a very big match. That victory was a turning point. News about the boots spread quickly. People started to talk about the small company from a small town that had a smart idea for shoes. The name Adidas traveled with the story, and more teams and players wanted to try those shoes. As the years passed, Adidas did not only build shoes. The company grew into a maker of clothing for sport. Tracksuits, shirts, shorts, and jackets came into the line. The brand began to appear not just on the track and on the field, but also in the street. People found that the clothes looked good and felt comfortable. Athletes wanted clothes that let them move, and many found that Adidas clothes gave the right balance of fit and comfort. The company made items with pockets in the right place, with fabric that breathed, and with simple lines that looked neat. The three stripes became a sign that people could spot easily. The stripes made the product look like part of a team. When you saw the stripes, you knew the clothes had been built with sport in mind. Adidas also learned that sport and culture moved together. Music, dance, and art met sport in the same streets and on the same stages. Young people who loved music and sport liked to wear sport clothes as a way to say who they were. Adidas appeared in videos and on stage, and the brand stepped into the world of style. Shoes that once were tools for athletes became also objects of beauty and of identity. People began to collect special models and to trade them like a kind of art. This move from pure sport gear to fashion items did not change the root of the company. The heart of Adidas remained the same: make things that help people play and move. But by opening its doors to new ideas and to artists and designers, the company reached many new friends. Growth brought hard tests, too. As the company grew, it needed to make more shoes faster and to find new materials. It had to keep a balance between craft and speed. The world began to buy many pairs of shoes and many jackets each year. The company needed factories, partners, and careful people who could check the quality. Sometimes the company made mistakes. Sometimes a model did not sell as expected, or a choice of design did not please the public. But each error was also a lesson. The leaders learned to listen to athletes and to watch the small things that matter in movement. They learned to test new sole shapes, new cushioning systems, and new materials so shoes could be lighter and still strong. They learned to try again when a plan did not work. Through the decades, Adidas kept a steady hand on one truth: sport is about people and about heart. The company put its trust in athletes, not only the stars on the covers of magazines, but also the young players who practice every day on small local fields. It signed deals with great athletes and teams, and those relationships gave the brand a global stage. But Adidas also worked quietly with small clubs and with schools. This way, the brand stayed close to the roots of sport. The company asked athletes what they needed and watched how they moved in training and in play. This listening helped Adidas to make better shoes, clothes, and gear. One important choice the company made was to keep trying to be new and useful. New ideas came from the lab and from the track. Engineers and designers joined athletes in trials. They would run, jump, and kick while the makers watched how the foot moved. They would adjust a seam here or a pad there. Over time, the brand brought many new features into sport gear. Some models became famous because they solved a true need: better grip on wet fields, a lighter shoe for long races, more cushion for hard landings. When a product truly helped an athlete feel safer or faster, the product found fans. That simple link, a real need met by a real tool, helped the brand last. As Adidas became known around the world, the brand also stepped into new lands of business. It learned to sell in many countries, to speak in many languages, and to work with a network of shops and partners. The shoes walked from small town streets to big city stores. At the same time, the brand did not forget to tell a simple story. A pair of shoes can help a person be their best self. This message fits many lives: a child who learns to run, a young player who wants to win, a person who uses sport to feel healthy. All could find a tool in a good shoe. The history of Adidas is also a story of change and of second chances. The company began with two brothers and then took many different turns. Not every choice was easy, but the company kept its mind on the future. When fashion changed, the company learned to speak the new language of style. When sports science showed new facts, the company learned to use them. When new materials arrived, Adidas learned to test and to pick what worked. In that way, the brand grew not only by making many items, but by learning how to adapt. That ability to change while staying true to the core idea, to help people move, is a key reason the story lasted. There is also a human side to this story that is not on the logos or in the sales numbers. Many people who joined the company brought their own care and love for sport. Designers who once trained as runners, factory workers who learned small rules of quality, sales staff who knew the local teams, they all carried pieces of the brand in their hands. When the company worked with local clubs, young players could touch the brand and feel that it was part of their life. That human link gave the brand warmth that no advertisement could buy. In the long run, warmth and trust make people come back to a product again and again. Today, the name Adidas appears on fields, in gyms, on streets, and on stages. But the true value of this long story is not only in how many shoes the company sold. The value is in the simple idea that a handmade dream can grow if people work with care and keep their eyes on the need of others. The story shows that small acts of care, the way a sole bends, the way a lace stays tied, the way a coat resists wind, can make a real difference in someone's life. It shows that a brand that listens to athletes and to people can move from a small town to many countries while still holding its heart. For learners of English, the story offers extra meaning. The name Adidas is easy to say, and it holds a lesson. Small words can carry a big idea. The path from a small workshop to a big brand comes from clear aims, from steady work, and from the courage to fix and to try again. The brothers began with 2 hands and a wish. From those small tools came designs that helped runners and players. The company grew when it kept asking one question: how can we make this better for the person who uses it? That question is simple and useful for everyone. For a student learning a new skill, for a worker who wants to improve, or for an artist who wants to try a new form. If you take one lesson from this long story, let it be this: keep your aims small and honest, and then work with care every day. Big things often begin with small steps, and steady work builds trust. When you make things with respect, and when you listen to the people who use them, your work can travel farther than you first imagine. Adidas grew because it kept that idea at its core. It began with shoes and grew into a name that helps people move, feel strong, and be part of a team. The story of Adidas is not only the history of a company, it is the story of people who believed that thoughtful work can change lives. Remember that in your own life. Start simple, learn from each try, help others with what you make, and keep moving forward.